So, update on this Signalgate situation where several high level members of the defense and intelligence community were caught sharing sensitive information on a commercially available app called Signal. As of now, there is essentially zero doubt that the information shared on Signal should have been classified. The information shared may not have been officially classified, which is probably the loophole those involved will use to get out of this, but they spoke about specific times and specific equipment in the Houthi attack before it took place. And I have several policies that I can discuss later in this video that highlights why it should have been classified. Jeffrey Goldberg released these texts because he was being attacked personally, and I don't blame him for doing so at this point. This needs to be addressed. What's really disturbing is that we're seeing a Secretary of Defense who is supposed to be the leader of honorable men and women in the profession of arms, a profession where we are taught things like honor and responsibility, meaning taking ownership and accountability, not lie to everyone when you're in a tight spot. Every soldier has heard this statement in some briefing somewhere, including Pete Hegseth. I guarantee it. And that is part of being a soldier is doing the right thing even when nobody is watching. Yet in this case, several other principal secretaries were both watching and participating while doing the wrong thing over and over again. But that's not all. Those involved then proceeded to go on television and stand in front of cameras lying about what had taken place, while Fox News did their best to mitigate the fallout. Now, let's look at what was said and what actually happened because, like I said, this morning the text stream was released. Mike Waltz said on Fox News that there's no methods and no war plans. Yet, when you look at the text stream, Pete Hegseth sent out team update, time now 11:44 a.m. Eastern Time, weather is favorable, just confirmed with CENTCOM that we are a go for mission launch. And before I go further, understand that times, equipment, unit locations, weapons packages, and battle damage assessments are all considered materials that should be classified according to multiple agency policies. So let's continue. Hegseth goes on to say that at 13:45 there will be trigger-based F-18 strikes on terrorists as well as MQ-9 Reaper drone strikes. At 14:10 he said more F-18s are launching with a second strike package. All of this information once again should have been classified due to times and equipment, but since they're saying it's not classified, I guess everyone can share it all now. Hegseth then says at 14:15 drone strikes are on target and flat out states, quote, first bombs will definitely drop, end quote. Again, this is a specific time coupled with details. Then at 15:36, he says F-18 second strike starts and sea-based Tomahawks launched. Interestingly, Hegseth closed out his text stream by saying we are clean on OPSEC. Now, I'm not sure what that means because either he doesn't know that Signal is not an authorized source for transmitting such information, despite the fact that his own organization has manuals and policies describing Signal as not authorized, or he does know but doesn't care, and thinks that little sentence absolves the fact that he just shared very specific strike details on the Signal app. And it's not like the classification policies are obscure. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence's own guidance said attack plans should be classified as top secret. Department of Defense Manual 5200.1 outlines the entirety of the Defense Department's classification policies. IT systems and networks must be certified and accredited prior to transmission, processing, or storage of classified data. It also makes recommendations on what should be classified. This policy then actually outlines the punishments that should be received, including criminal and administrative sanctions if they knowingly, willfully, or negligently disclose unauthorized information. Enclosure 4, titled Classifying Information, specifically says information shall be classified only to protect national security. Then the subsections talk about how military plans, weapon systems, and operations are included in this. The document is 84 pages long and provides all the policies on classifying information, and it comes from the Department of Defense. Now, Mike Waltz went on Laura Ingraham and said that he had no clue who added Goldberg to the Signal chat, but then when the chat was shared, it clearly showed that Mike Waltz added Goldberg to the chat with a disappearing message timer set to 1 week. That disappearing message in and of itself is another problematic situation because it violates various record-keeping acts. So I don't know why any of this needed to be shared by the principals on a commercial app. They all have access to secure communications teams that literally follow them around the country and around the world so that they can communicate securely. These teams will actually leave as a part of the advance party to set up these communications for them ahead of time. So, as a principal secretary, you should know this. As a principal secretary, you also have a duty to inform everyone else in the group that what is happening is not only wrong, but unlawful. The fact that Jeffrey Goldberg was added to this group matters the least. However, we in America are fortunate that he was, because otherwise, this could have kept on going. As I mentioned yesterday, the Department of Defense has classified Signal as compromised multiple times in 2023 and then earlier this year. So him being added and then reporting on it was fortuitous and likely stops such dangerous foolishness from happening in the future. And when all of this came to light, most of the principal secretaries went before the media and lied. Leaders of honorable professions and agencies we rely on to keep us safe lied to the American people, then tried to reframe this discussion as how did Jeffrey Goldberg get access? Rather than answer the more relevant questions of why this group existed at all and why they were sharing such information. And in what seems to be a masterclass in baiting, Goldberg waited for all of them to go on the news and tell their lies, only to drop the actual evidence on the world a couple of days later. The credibility of all of those involved from the Trump administration is completely destroyed. Every government official participating in this Signalgate situation needs to be investigated thoroughly. There's no way all of these folks should walk away unscathed. What Pete Hegseth shared alone would get someone like me not only fired, but probably thrown in prison. Yet, they live in a different world than we do, so we'll have to see what happens.